Good morning, everybody. It's about 11:15 on May 12th. This is going to be the final video that I record for you this semester, and correspondingly, my comments are going to have to do with some considerations you want to make as we approach the end of the course. The first thing that I want to say, and this doesn't just have to do with our course, but all of the courses you're in, is know your numbers. You really should have all of the information, certainly in my course, but probably in a lot of your other courses, in Blackboard to be able to find out what that final grade looks like right now, and possibly what sort of work you're going to need to do to get the final grade you want. Specifically in Blackboard, take a look at the My Grade section. That's where that information is going to be. Know now, though, that there's a difference between the grading information that you get through Blackboard and the Workday system that you've also got access to. The Workday system itself is going to be where your final grades that are on file with the college are ultimately going to go. So right now, Blackboard gives you the information about things like numbers and individual assignment grades. But once those final grades are posted, it's going to be through Workday that you get access to those. Last note, just about final grades in general. For the college itself, final grades are all due by the end of the day on May 24th. So know that you've got up until that date when it might be that the last of your professors post those. It's more likely, though, that those will kind of trickle in as your individual instructors get the information they need from the assignments that they get handed into them to calculate the grades. Certainly, that's going to be the way that my course works. As soon as I've got the information, I'm going to post the grades as I can calculate them. Looking at our course more specifically, the final submission of the face of the field essay will be due by 11:59 p.m. on Sunday the 15th. That's a standard due date, end of the day Sunday. And we've known about that due date of the 15th for quite a while, ever since the announcement went up at the end of April, having to do with all the final due dates of the semester. I'm hoping then that the end of the day on Sunday the 15th isn't a surprise to anybody. But if there is some reason that this comes as a surprise or as a shock of some sort, I guess email me and I'll deal with that on a case by case basis. But again, I don't think that's the case. Like I was saying, I fully intend to correct these things on Monday the 16th and get final grades posted that day. I don't foresee that there should be any delay, but if one is necessary, I'll post that information so that you know it. My goal is to get it all done, though. So you should have all those grades posted by the end of the day, Monday the 16th. To talk a little bit about our final assignment, I want to look at that in terms of several different aspects of it, specifically the goal, topic, development, the sourcing that we do, and the way that we cite those sources. So I'm going to break it down that way. First, remember that the goal of this essay that we're writing is the same goal that we've talked about for a number of other essays. Remember that the chief appeal that we make to our reader is through the humanity in what we write. It's possible that that humanity comes by way of our style, the wording that we use, and the way that we convey our personality. Otherwise, it comes through by way of the subject matter that we choose. And certainly that's the case with the essay that we're writing right now. Specifically, the goal is to use a human personal story as a way to appeal to a wider audience as we discuss the current state of the specific field or discipline that we're in. It means taking enough time to capture that human essence. We're not just like recounting what someone has done. We're not looking at why it is that someone is the foremost scientist in their field by way of recounting all their interesting developments and explorations and all that stuff. But we want to know about why it is that that person went into the field and the personal drives that keep them going, right? Again, we need the personal human aspect of it as a way of appealing to people who aren't studying the same thing we are, but are just interested in a story about someone. That means then that the topic is the most current, most up-to-date person whose work characterizes the field he or she is in. There have been a couple of situations where I've had to say, listen, the person you've chosen is just not current enough for this essay to work. Um, Again, a couple situations where the topic just wasn't going to work at all. After that, there were other situations where I might have said, well, okay, this is acceptable. but the essay could be more interesting and more useful and current and timely and all that stuff if we were to find someone who's even more current, who's even more relevant to the way things are right now. We've talked about how the development of this is going to work before. Particularly, you'll remember the way that this was worded last week. We're writing an essay with two parallel parts of it. The first parallel part there is the human story, the story of the person who came to the field somehow. We've got to have that. Um, at the same time, though, the other part of that topic is the professional work that the person did, right? So the two of those things are going to get developed side by side, but the key is that we've got to have both. And to be completely frank, the personal aspect of it might be just a little bit more important than the professional one. And I say that because of how important it is here to be able to capture that personal aspect of it, but also because of how many of the drafts I read where I said, yeah, you need more of the personal bit. You can't just have the professional there. Right. So think about it that way. For the purposes of revising this essay, I really do think that the personal aspect of this is going to edge out the professional one as just that much more important to have, because that means that we're making that appeal. We've got the human aspect of it that's going to help us to be able to reach out to readers who aren't just, the ones who are studying the same things we are. Sourcing. And you'll remember that there was actually extensive discussion of sourcing and how this works in the Bazerman textbook that we were using earlier in the semester. Um, think of it this way: if you didn't know it before you did the research, you've got to have sourcing that you can point to through citation that tells your reader how you found out about it. Now, lacking proper sourcing means lacking a really important audience appeal here based on the effort that you put into the research, but also based on the quality of the research, right? If we can't use our sourcing to point to those things as having been done, we're really just cutting ourselves off at the knees, so to speak. We're losing out on an important appeal that we can make, that we have to be able to make with any piece of research we do. Like I already said, though, the way that our sourcing helps us is through the citation process. Now, that's necessarily a two-part process. It's in-text citation and end citations, and we've got to have both. Um, of the two of those, it's more likely that maybe we neglect the in-text citation and just have the ones at the end. And, earlier in our academic careers, middle school, maybe even high school, just having those end citations might have been enough. Now, though, the problem is that the presence of the end citations doesn't go far enough because it doesn't give us any of the framework we need to be able to tie individual assertions of specific information to the sources that we got it from. The only way that we're going to be able to do that is having the in-text citation right there with the content that we're including from outside, because it's then that we can go from that content from outside through the in-text citation to the end citation. And that's when the citation process really works the way that we need it to. But all those things have to be there. Without it, or without the ability to easily tie the in-text citation to the end citation, the citations break down and the sourcing breaks down. And again, we are without that appeal having to do with the research process that we've undergone. A good way of thinking about how those things have to correspond is this: look at the end citation, look at the way that it's formatted, and specifically what the wording is at the very beginning. Make sure that the wording at the beginning of the end citation is exactly the same as the wording in the in-text citation. That way, if the two of those things are identical, it gives us the best guarantee that the reader is going to be able to link those things up. I'm not going to go on any further. I think those are the most important points for the revisions that you'll all be doing. Good luck in the revision process. If there are any questions that you run into, let me know. Otherwise, make sure that that's in by the end of the day Sunday, and grades will be posted early next week. So check then. Take care, everybody.